Hello, everyone. What's good? It's me, your girl, your host, the one and only Mayowa, and this is my new podcast, Just Me and God. Welcome to the very first episode of the Just Me and God podcast. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about our walk with God. We're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about the tough, we're going to talk about the ugly, and the real, the raw, all of that good stuff. We're here to talk about it, right? First things first, you're probably wondering who I am and why I have a podcast, but no worries, we're going to get into all of that. I would just first and foremost like to start by saying that I'm not everybody else. I am my own special person, and God made me unique and special in His own image, right? So this podcast is going to be a little different from most of the podcasts, and don't get me wrong, I've been blessed by a lot of Christian podcasts, but I have found a thing that I think is missing from a lot of these podcasts, right? Um, it's time that we talk about the realness and the rawness of Christianity. But nonetheless, before we dive into all of that, I would like to introduce who I am to y'all. I am Mayowa. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, so shout out to Niger, you know the vibes. I was raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, so shout out to the R if you're listening from the R. Make sure that y'all are sharing all of this with your family, with your friends, so that everybody can tune in and see what Mayowa's been doing. Because Mayowa has changed a lot for the better, right? I mean, life is a constant journey. You should be changing. You should want to change for the better, of course. You don't want to regress, but anyways, we move forward and we continue to grow. We thank God. I currently reside in the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, the 704. Shout out to the four. I've been here for about 5 years, so yeah, I guess I can throw up the fours now. So you know the vibes. Anyways, I love Charlotte. It's a very youthful city. It has, honestly shown me a lot about who I am as a person. I have grown tremendously just by the 5 years that I've been here. So, anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is, everything about me, everything about this podcast. I've told y'all who I am. I've told y'all where I'm from. I've told y'all where I live. What do I like to do? Other than working, which I mean, nobody really enjoys to work. So let me just not even say that I enjoy to work. I work because the Lord hasn't blessed me yet with an opportunity where I don't have to work all the time. But no worries, my blessing is coming. So, yeah, nonetheless, I do work. I work in technology, so that's always an area that's always growing, and I love it because I can continue to challenge myself and increase my skill set. Um, I love music. I love to listen to music. So there is going to be a podcast episode about the importance of music and how that has played a large part in my journey. Um, I am someone who, I guess you could say I'm a gym rat. I love to work out. Over the past, I guess you can say maybe 2 or 3 years, I've been very, very diligent in my fitness journey, and it has been very transformational, and it has been amazing, right? And I love every bit of it. Yes, it has its moments, just like any journey. I mean, just like this journey that I'm here to talk about. But I continue to stay strong and steadfast in my goals. And yeah, the gym is a place where I can just kind of be myself, right? Let loose and just get healthy. Get healthy, y'all. It's important. Life is short. You just never know where life is going to take you. So just go ahead and get right. Get right mentally, get right physically. Yeah, your body will thank you. It'll always thank you. You will never regret getting healthy. That's just the first and foremost. Um, but yeah, so I am the oldest of five siblings, and I love every single one of my siblings. And I am the firstborn child to two lovely parents. Shout out to my parents if they're listening to this. I love y'all. And they are pastors, so yeah. I am a pastor's kid, and I know what y'all always love to say about pastor's kid, but don't worry, I'm gonna debunk that. We're gonna talk about that and unpack all of it in an upcoming episode. So make sure you stay tuned because y'all are really gonna want to hear what I have to say about that one. Anyways, I love my family. I'm a big family person, and they have been a large part of my journey with God, and they have encouraged and just kind of motivated me. My siblings have been very motivating on this journey, and I just hope that, you know, I'm sure I'm going to get them on here. I'm going to get some of my siblings on this episode, if not all of them. Well, I do have a little sister who passed away about 6 years ago to lupus. So I know that she is listening from up above in heaven, and I know that she's proud of me as her big sister. And, the ultimate goal really is to just live right, do the things of God so that I can be united with my baby sister once again in heaven. So, there's that. But I am going to get my other siblings on here. I don't know if I'm going to get the parents on here yet, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And have no fear. This is a Christian podcast, right? I guess I should have started out by saying that. This is a Christian podcast. So we will be talking about things surrounding Christianity, the realness and the rawness, right? I have so many things that I want to say about Christianity, and I just hope that y'all are going to be blessed by it, and I hope that it just encourages you and it just opens you to think about things from a different mindset, right? Think about things from a different point of view. I love my Lord and Savior. He has literally saved my life. I mean, quite literally saved my life. And so, we'll talk about all of that in upcoming podcasts, my testimony, all of that. It's gonna be intense, but we're gonna get right to it, the real and the raw, right? I have nothing to really hide. I have no shame because God has redeemed me. So, my journey is my journey, and it's not supposed to look like anybody else's. Um, but yeah, I will probably have a couple guests on this episode. Well, not this episode, but upcoming episodes. Um, and they're going to probably talk about their journeys too, because I do know some people whose journeys have been amazing. And I really hope that y'all are going to be blessed, right? Not just by my journey, but by the journey of other people too. But yeah, anyways, this is a podcast. Like I said, it's a Christian podcast. I'm going to try to drop an episode every week if I can help it. I might give y'all some bonus episodes if I'm really feeling up to it. This recording stuff is much harder than I thought. And it's so funny because I create content. I create content for my church. And in my old ways of life, I used to be a content creator. Like, that's what I did. So, I mean, I know how tedious it was then, but sheesh, this is tough, especially when it's a video podcast. It's like, whoa, you mess up. It's like, let me just run that back, right? But forget it. At this point, we just gonna keep going. Whatever you get is what you get, right? This is the realness and the rawness that I'm talking about. So I just hope that y'all will be blessed. I hope that you will be blessed. But yeah, so why is this podcast important? Like I mentioned, this is a podcast where we're going to talk about our journeys. I'm going to be talking about my journey with God. This podcast came out of a moment where I felt really, really down and I was struggling. It didn't last long though. The struggle didn't last long because I quickly realized that the enemy was trying to attack me. And I just needed to call on the Lord, and He absolutely comforted me, and He lifted me up, and He helped me continue on my journey. So, we're going to talk about all of that in upcoming episodes. This podcast is definitely going to be one where want to hear what somebody else's journey with their walk with God looks like, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, they're always ready and quick to talk about how God delivered them, their testimonies, but then nobody really talks about that continuous journey. Like, okay, you had your testimony. What happened after? How did you make it? This is where we're going to talk about how I'm making it. Okay? Yeah. And so that's just that. This is my journey. So don't come up here, trying to say that I'm less of a Christian or anything of that sort. Absolutely not. God is my number one, right? Like, that man loves me and I love him too. And there is nobody that loves unconditionally like the Holy Spirit. So there's that. What will you get out of this podcast? Out of this podcast, I hope that you will be encouraged. I hope that you will be motivated. I hope that if you haven't started your journey with God, that eventually this podcast helps you to begin that journey. Because yes, I will have an episode on how I even started my journey, right? So stay tuned for that. But I really hope that even those that are on their journey with God, I hope this podcast encourages you to keep going because, like I said, I hit a point where it was very hard. Like, I think it really dawned on me, like, oh, wow, you have really changed up the ways of life. Yeah. Things are not the same as you thought. It's not as easy as you thought it was. And don't get me wrong, this was a very easy journey at first. I was on fire for God, I was zealous, and I still am zealous. I still am on fire for God. But, I've hit some rocks on my journey, and I haven't fallen, and I thank God for that because He has kept me, He has led me, He has guided me, and He's been teaching me. So I just hope that I can bless you all the same way that God has blessed me. That's basically it. Now, what is Christianity to me? This is not a podcast where we're going to be all religious and all of that. Like, no. Christianity is a relationship. It's a relationship with God, and that's what it is to me, right? Like, my relationship with God is the most important thing to me right now. I think one of my biggest goals for this year of 2023 was to develop a stronger intimacy with the Lord. Like, that is an ongoing goal. It never ends. It never ends. And it's a beautiful journey. Like I said, don't get me wrong. Yes, it has its moments where it's a little difficult, but it is a beautiful journey. And when you look back and realize how far you've come, you're going to be so ecstatic. You're going to be so happy. You're just going to be telling God how much you love him. He's probably not tired of me telling him how much I love him, but I tell him like every day on numerous occasions how much I love him and how much I'm going to love him for all of eternity. But yeah, so this is a relationship, me and God, just me and God. That's where this name came from, right? I was literally laying down one day after I was feeling super down. I was about to go to bed. I was, saying, Heavenly Father, thank you for getting me through the day. Um, I understand that this journey is not the easiest, and I know that it's just me and you. And I said, boom, there you have it. Just me and God. That's my podcast name. This is a podcast that I wanted to start this year. I had made that one of my goals for the beginning of this year when I was journaling. And I just didn't want to jump into it because I didn't know when the right moment was. I also didn't really have a name for it. But when I tell you that that name came, it came and it stuck, right? So yeah, this is a Just Me and God podcast, and I really hope that it blesses you all. Um, and again, I just really want to encourage y'all. I recognize that this journey with God is not easy. And it's not easy because we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Nobody will ever be perfect. But all you can strive to be is perfect in holiness, right? And we'll talk about what that looks like. And we'll talk about how you can go about trying to be perfect in holiness. And none of that is possible without God. That's the most important thing that I want you to take away from this. But yeah, so this basically it for my intro. It's probably gonna be a short episode, but I don't know how long the upcoming episodes will be. I'm gonna keep them under 30 minutes if I can help it because it's a lot. I honestly don't really like to hear myself talk, and I don't really like to watch myself on video. So this is gonna be a new thing for me. I have been doing a lot of new things lately, especially with my church. Um, and it's just been nothing but God moving me. I feel like I don't really understand exactly what my calling is yet, though some will say that I am supposed to be a minister, pastor, deaconess, blah, blah, blah. I don't do the title thing. I don't. I don't do the title. And if you read the Bible, you will understand why I don't want that title. But at the end of the day, I do ask God to, use me however he sees fit. And whatever he calls me to do is what I'm going to do, right? Funny enough, I was talking to my therapist and she was saying, well, you say you don't want to be a preacher or a minister, but, what do you think you're going to be doing on your podcast? I'm going to be talking to y'all. I'm going to be talking to y'all. And, whatever that looks like to you, so be it. But please do recognize that pastors and ministers do have a special responsibility, and they are held up to higher standards. And not to say that I don't want to be held up to those standards. I just don't know if I'm there yet, right? I don't know that I'm there yet, but I'm gonna let God decide because at the end of the day, it's whatever He wants me to do. But yeah, that basically wraps it up for the first episode. So I hope that y'all have enjoyed my very first episode of the Just Me and God podcast. And I'm super excited for what's going to come out of this. I'm super excited for the guests that I'm going to have on this podcast. And I really hope that y'all are going to be blessed. I really hope it encourages you. I really hope that it motivates you to keep going. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are not following me on social media, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at __ just me and God. This is going to be, those are going to be some platforms where you can reach out if you have any questions, if you have any topics that you want to hear me talk about, send me a message. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to also post other content on my YouTube and my Instagram, not just my podcast videos. I mean, Instagram's not going to get the full video, of course, because that's Instagram. YouTube will get the full video. And this podcast is going to be going on Apple, so stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it on Google yet, but we'll work on that. Nonetheless, I do want y'all to make sure that y'all have a blessed day, right? Make sure that you take care of yourself. I am big on self care. Mental health is important. As I said, I have a therapist. Therapy and Jesus is what saved my life. Period. That's that. So, get the help that you need, but please know that I am here to encourage and I'm here to help. I'm here to talk to y'all. Whatever I can do to help, please make sure that you reach out if you have any questions. And yeah, stay tuned. I hope that y'all have been blessed. Yeah. Bye.